When you think of Japan, you probably think of incredible efficiency, bullet trains, robotics, just-in-time manufacturing. But what if I told you that one of its biggest economic weak spots is hiding in plain sight, right at its massive ports? Today, we're diving into a huge, and I mean huge, untapped opportunity in Japan's supply chain. So let's get right into it. For a country that's a titan of global exports, you'd assume its supply chain is a well-oiled machine from start to finish. But there's a massive kink in the hose, and it's not on the ships or in the factories. It's in that really simple but absolutely critical step, getting the cargo from the boat onto land. And this chart right here, well, it tells you everything you need to know. Look at this. When it comes to how Japan spends its money on public infrastructure, a whopping 37.2% goes to roads. And railways? A tiny, almost invisible 0.7%. That little sliver is the whole story. It shows this incredible over-reliance on trucks to move stuff from the ports. And that creates some pretty serious problems down the line. Okay, so if depending too much on roads and trucks is the problem, then the solution has to be about rethinking that connection point right at the port. And there's a concept for that. It's called on-dock rail. And it's just a much, much smarter way to get ships and trains talking to each other. So what exactly is on-dock rail? Honestly, the idea is so simple, it's brilliant. Instead of a crane putting a container on a truck, which then has to drive, across town to a rail yard where it gets unloaded and then loaded again onto a train, this system just brings the train right up to the ship. It cuts out the middleman, the truck, entirely. The whole process is just so smooth. It's like a dance. The ship docks, that's step one. Then a giant crane swings over, plucks a container right off the deck. And in one seamless move, it places it directly onto a freight train that's literally waiting right there on the dock. It's one fluid motion. From sea to land, done. And listen, this isn't some futuristic pie-in-the-sky idea. It's actually the gold standard. It's how the most modern, efficient ports all around the world are already operating. To really see what that looks like, let's take a quick trip around the globe. First stop, North America, and the absolute behemoth that is the combined ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach. Calling this a port almost doesn't do it justice. It's a logistics city. The scale is just mind-boggling. And on-dock rail is the engine that makes it all work, feeding goods to an entire continent. And if we zoom in a little closer, you can really see the philosophy at work. See that? The train tracks aren't miles away in some dusty rail yard. No, they're woven directly in between the giant stacks of containers, right there at the water's edge. This is what total integration looks like. And here's what that means in the real world. An entire train loaded with nothing but Walmart containers, all put on board right at the port, ready to roll inland. This is literally how stuff gets from a factory on the other side of the world to the shelf in your local store. It all hinges on that seamless link. Now let's hop over the Atlantic to Europe. We see the exact same principle, but here it's creating this incredible continent-wide web. From huge ports like Rotterdam and Hamburg, cargo just flows on trains deep into Germany, into France, all over the place. The port isn't just a destination, it's the gateway to a massive land-based logistics network. All right, so we've seen the global standard. Now, let's bring it all back home to Japan, and let's do a direct, side-by-side comparison of its major ports. This is going to be a tale of two very different ports. Okay, look at this. On the left, you've got the Port of Los Angeles, with that dense web of rail we were just looking at. Now, look at the right. That's the Port of Tokyo. Just take a second. Do you see the same kind of integration? The difference is pretty stark, right? You see the port and yeah, you see rail yards kind of nearby, but they're separate. They're disconnected. And that, right there, is the heart of the problem. It's not that Japan doesn't have ports. Of course it does. And it's not that it doesn't have railways. It's the lack of that direct, seamless link between the two. That critical gap means that every single day, thousands and thousands of individual truck journeys have to happen, creating all this inefficiency, congestion, and pollution. So why are we so focused on this? Why does this one infrastructure detail matter so much? Well, because closing this gap isn't just a small tweak for efficiency. The payoff for Japan could be absolutely profound, with huge benefits for the economy and for society as a whole.
The benefits are just transformative. I mean, think about it. You shift all that cargo from trucks to hyper-efficient trains. That immediately slashes CO2 emissions. You take thousands of heavy trucks off already packed highways. You help solve Japan's really serious truck driver shortage. And maybe most importantly, you build a modern, resilient supply chain that's just way more stable and secure against disruptions.
It really all boils down to this one powerful idea. A seamless connection between land and sea transport is not just an upgrade, it's a necessity for a sustainable future. See? This isn't just some boring logistics project. It's about laying the foundation for a modern, green economy.
So as the rest of the world is making its supply chains faster, greener, and more connected, the real question for Japan isn't just about whether to lay some new track. It's about a fundamental shift in thinking, about seeing how its infrastructure, its economy, and its environment are all deeply, deeply connected.